our members, there is victory for us. Forward, forward, ever.
It was solidarity songs as the National Executive of the Nigerian Union of Journalists welcomed the Congress President to the Secretariat on Monday on his first official visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. This visit is in continuation with Congress President's visits to Union to fraternize with them and also seek stronger collaboration in terms of solidarity and advocacy in various areas of concern as regards their union.
I know how it hurts, and it's getting worse by the day. The practice of journalism is getting worse by the day. Although yes, technology has facilitated it. In those days, you travel out, no phone, you go to United office to look for a fax, on how to send their story and all that. But these days, technology has enhanced it beyond that. The welfare of our people is being underplayed. And we happen to be that group that is for everybody and nobody for us. I repeat, we are for everybody. We are not even for ourselves. If they sack journalists in any media house today, you guys will not report it. You keep quiet. There are media houses that have not paid salary for 1 year. You guys will not report it. What do we call it? I came here so that we can talk to ourselves. And they say when families meet and people are laughing, they throw themselves lies. But if everybody is frowning, it's like they have told themselves the whole truth. Comrades, we need to face it. Some of us were involved in the debate on whether journalism is a profession or is a trade union. That's the UJ. That debate at the debate was getting to neither here or there. Because 90% of your members are on paid employment and you're a professional. So who negotiates their condition of service, their condition of living? To suppose it with the bar association, medical association, whatever. Anyone that they don't employ will convert his own to either his chambers or his clinic. You can get something doing immediately. So we have to balance it as both profession and as a career. The law says it's criminal. We have to enforce it, comrades. That when you deduct, you remit. The issue of insurance is compulsory for journalists because of what happens every day. Our job is a risky one, and there must be that provision for it. I learned sometime they introduced weighing allowance, and the weighing allowance they introduced, about 22 states or thereabout are paid, or they didn't pay. This is compulsory since it is made a percentage of your basic. And then the issue is that what is that basic? Because if you say 40% of basic, now it is the basic that will determine the quantum of what you are going to get. Is the issue of mileage allowance standardized? Because on daily basis, you're on the road. You're on your beat, moving from one station to the other. Most people spend their salaries in a week. What has happened? Because these are important for us to, whether there will be, even if it's subvention, or even release, tax release, for them to bring in, especially newsprint, and the other essential, materials required for media practitioners in the country. By so doing, if we make their businesses easy, it will be easier for members to collect their salaries and their living and equally do business to the satisfaction of everybody. Most media houses are suffering. In this country, there was a period that there was provision for media, whatever, is it Okubogu and some of the fine, to make sure that they have this printing, newsprints. But I'm not sure that is the situation today. If they are important, then it's difficult for them to do business, especially given the prevalent economic situation where the exchange rate is becoming another challenge. So I think the Nigerian state should equally look into this area, because the instrument for mass media is such that is essential either for the government or the masses. I think we have to work together, President, to see how we can help organizations. Besides, the era of online media and other, aspects of media practice, I think there should be need for regulation, not to the extent of maybe sanctioning. Regulation in terms that they will be part of their members.
The president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists welcomed the Congress president to their national secretariat in Abuja, and in a swift response, pleaded that NLC should come to the rescue of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in this challenging time.
I want to thank you, Mr. President, for coming to see us. You raised another important issue about what is gradually becoming a norm, where the issue of clampdown, harassment, arbitrary arrests, abduction, quote and unquote, intimidations, and what have you, seem to be becoming the order of the day. Well, you have raised it. We're also tackling it from our own end. And we want to appeal to NLC to come to Macedonia and give us help. Very important. You cannot leave us. You are our apex body. You are our parent body, so to speak, from the trade union perspective. We need your protection always, so that we are not completely thrown to the dogs. The NUJ, apart from initiating the issue of weighing allowance, which we had discussed extensively in the office, and the NUJ and the Ratau, right, we teamed up to come up with the weigh-in allowance, which today our members that are working at the Federal Ministry of Information, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Nigerian Television Authority, Voice of Nigeria, I guess News Agency of Nigeria too. They are benefiting. They are enjoying that dividends. They don't know how it came about. It's Nigerian Union of Journalists and Ratau that put that together. But sadly, beyond the government at the center, at the state level, it is a different kettle of fish. As of today, most regrettably, about 22 states are implementing the weigh-in allowance. So what happens to the remaining 14? It is sad, and it's not a good one. And I want to also use this opportunity to report that to you, Mr. President. It's one of the things when we now agitate, when we decide to down tools, we must, as a matter of imperativeness, ensure that the media fraternity is carried along. This is the sector or the profession that has no holiday, no weekends, no rest time. We are always there. When other professions decide to go on leave, the journalists report their holiday and keeps them abreast of developments within the polity. And like you said, it's one profession that is there for everybody and nobody is there for the profession. It's not even there for itself. It's sad. And I'm happy that Mr. President has very well highlighted it. And having said it, I know that is going to be one of the talking points for the NLC going forward. Recently, I attended a meeting at the Federal Ministry of Information. And we discussed the issue of checkoff. Mr. President, I must tell you that sadly, the checkoff of that is accruable to the NUJ from the federated chapels, Federal Ministry of Information, Voice of Nigeria, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Nigerian Television Authority, News Agency of Nigeria, NTA, they don't come to us. What we get at the end of the day is less than 2% of what we should get. Where it goes to, we do not know. In fact, at a point, I attended the meeting. Okay, let it be part of what we'll discuss maybe in camera, so that I don't just throw the kitchen sink. But it's one key issue that needs to be addressed. Because how else are you going to run a union if the checkoff that is deducted from members is not remitted to the union?
It's criminal.
Well, Mr. President said it's criminal.
No, it's diversion now.
And go to our constitution, you are a lawyer and some other lawyers are here. Right to freedom of association and right to freedom of expression are clearly defined in our rule books. Maybe some people have decided to take it from the negative point of view, because the Constitution has given us the latitude to freely express ourselves. Today, it does appear that we are taking it to a very alarming level with the proliferation of media houses left, right, and center. Talked about the online, talk about radio stations, the TV stations, the newspapers, and all that. They are coming up every day. In fact, most of them just come out to achieve one thing, just to run one person down and they close down and go away. Once they drop the link on WhatsApp platform, the rest is history. And that's what we are having. And that brings us to the issue that we've been talking about. It has to do with regulation. Somehow we are so, scared to talk about it. Somebody will say, why would the president of NUJ talk about regulation? We cannot leave the profession to just anybody. That's the truth. There must be some form of regulation. And Mr. President, I must inform you that bearing that in mind, quite recently, at the level of the Nigerian press organizations, made up of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, and most recently, GOCOP, Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, we're even bringing Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, on board. We came up with a sort of co-regulation when we officially unveiled the National Media Complaints Commission, which is the National Ombudsman. This committee or the commission that we put in place is a form of co-regulation where we don't want to leave this issue of regulation solely in the hands of governments, because we try to borrow a leaf from how it is practiced in even neighboring countries. The closest to us here is Ghana, where professionals are regulating themselves. But in our own climb, we felt if we just say us regulating ourselves, maybe government may not be so comfortable. And that's why we came up with the National Ombudsman. It has representation from the Nigerian Bar Association. It has representation from the government, Federal Ministry of Information. It has representation from the legislature. In fact, the chairman of House of Representative Committee on Information and Media is a member. Same with the Senate. So that all the strategic stakeholding units will be involved. That way, this issue about poor remuneration, which you referenced, and his twin brother, epileptic remuneration, where people work for months and they go home with nothing. We have the media houses, both print and electronic, that are there. We factored that in so that the commission will equally look into that. And Mr. President, beyond that, quite recently also, we decided at the level of Nigerian press organizations to take another look at the Code of Ethics. The document was last reviewed in 1998. And if you look at what we have in that document, 1998 and now, you will see that the media keeps evolving. It's so dynamic. The media is moving at the speed of light. Things are changing, as fast as possible. And we are still operating a document that was last reviewed in 1998. And at the level of NPO, we said, no, we are going to look at this document critically again and ensure that we factored in the most recent realities in the profession so that we don't continue to operate an archaic document, a document that has lost its taste. But there is one thing unique about what we are bringing on board this time around, Mr. President. If we take a very critical look at the Code of Ethics, it keeps talking about what is expected of the journalist must do this, the journalist must do that, the journalist must do this, the journalist must do that. But the people that have engaged that journalist, what are they supposed to be doing? To be looking at them? No. What is delaying that document that we have reviewed is the fact that yours sincerely and one or two other key stakeholders in that family have insisted that before we release any document, there must be an accompanying document, Bill of Rights for journalists, so that the entrepreneur, the media owners, the media proprietors also will have what is expected there of them. So that by the time you give out a document that you are our reporter, you are our staff, you are correspondent, you as an entrepreneur must have responsibilities. There are things you must do. One of which is that you must remunerate such a person properly. A situation where what the journalist puts in and what he receives at the end of the day don't tally. What he goes home with cannot even take him home. It's not commensurate with what he gets. We have said that it is most concerning, and we cannot continue to operate that way. And I must report to you, Mr. President, that the NUJ president, the president of Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, and a very renowned journalist, Kaderia Ahmed, three of us are putting that together. We are crossing the T's and dotting the I's properly. And by the time that is done, we are going to officially release the amended version of the Code of Ethics. And when you see it, you see that your rights as a journalist, your interests as a journalist have all been factored into this document. That we are working out, Mr. President.